Have you ever been somewhere that made you think, this place is weird? I love places like that, whether it's in real life or in a video game. So today, with your permission, I'd like to take you on a little tour of some odd and unremarkable places in Spyro the Dragon. This is a very highly requested game, and I'm very excited to go on this journey with you. Roll the footage. Alright, the first place that I'm going to take you is on the level Stone Hill, and it is going to be right down here on this beach. Now this is a beach where, if you go back in here, I believe this is either where you get the key to unlock the chest in this level, or the chest is in here and you got to bring it here. But it's a hard place to find, especially because the little teleporter thing that brings you back up does not appear until you've already come down here, I don't think. So what is so weird about being down here? Well, first of all, it is like a hidden area, so of course you have a little bit of a sense of like, oh, I'm cheating. But I think the thing that makes this weird is something that, the thing that makes this weird is something that affects all of this game, and that is the fact that the water doesn't move. The water is completely still. So because we're tucked away on the side of this, I suppose it's an island of some kind, and because there's such a stillness to the sky and to the water and to the environment, you know, there's no other enemies down here, there's nothing moving. I always got a very weird feeling standing down here and coming down here. It always felt like a place I would sort of hop down and then immediately leave, or sort of feel like I was making a mistake. And honestly, having this portal here kind of harshes the buzz just a little bit. Kind of makes it feel a little bit less weird, but still very weird, still very weird. It's the type of place that feels like you are not supposed to be here when you first get there, and it almost feels like, you know, when you fall down here initially and you don't know about the portal to get back up, it can very much feel like you've made a terrible error and that your only option is going to be to try and sort of maneuver your way through the water and then, of course, die, because dragons can't swim. At least this one can't. Oops. And any place like this in Spyro that is off the edge of a level up in the water gives me this feeling, especially if you start like gliding out in further down and you end up in places like this. The stillness of it just gives me the heebie-jeebies, but in like a good way. The good heebie-jeebies. The happy jeebies. Wire. The hidden beach. That is what it is. The hidden beach in front of the frozen ocean with the weird PlayStation 1 draw distance squares. I like this ambiance too, from sitting in this cave looking out into that beach, again because of the stillness, you know. Alright, that's enough of that. Let's go on to the next one, shall we? The next place I want to take you, this is a very simple one, but one that you don't, you know, that thing we did in the Mario Kart 64 where I was at the start of the race and then I just turned around. That's kind of what we're doing right here, because this is where you enter the Peacekeeper's land, and you come in and you go straight through this door. But if you turn around, you just get a real mouthful of interesting vibes. The stillness of Spyro the Dragon takes no prisoners. I can't remember if Mario 64 feels this still, you know, when there's nothing going on. When you kill all the enemies in a game of Spyro, or at least in the first Spyro, the levels feel very dead. It feels a little bit like if you kill enemies in a Halo level. But Mario 64 never struck me as creepily empty. Maybe I'll have to go back and play it with that in mind. The very nice sort of sunset looking gradient over the still ocean water, very, very good. I mean, you can't deny that. The ever extending sides of, I guess this is some sort of island or something. Very, very good. I mean, just looking out over this infinite stillness is kind of precisely the vibe that we're trying to curate on this show. How many times have I said vibe since I started this show? I don't know, but it's too many. Someone get me a thesaurus. Atmosphere, energy, feel, mood, ambiance. I say ambiance all the time. Aura. I'm not going to say aura. It's an interesting thing because when you're on the inside of the Peacekeepers, and this is one of the hub worlds in Spyro, the hub worlds are very elaborate. So this is one of the hub worlds, and when you're on the inside of it, you don't get the sense that it is a tiny island. I wouldn't say that it necessarily feels like some sort of big infinite desert, but you don't really think about it when you're walking around on the inside. There's no really clue to the fact that it is an enclosed, a prison of stone. But you come back out here, yeah, lo and behold, a prison of stone. This is some of my favorite water in any game, I think. I just really like it. I don't like that it insta-kills you, though. Boy, what I wouldn't give to be able to walk out there, I'll tell you. Alright, back on the bus. We're going to the next place. Alright, next up, this is a little place I like to call the Flaming Fields of Jacques. This is the boss arena for a boss named Jacques, who is like a weird, creepy puppet man. And like with a lot of the levels, and particularly the boss fight levels in Spyro, the environment takes on a very weird and dead atmosphere, or you might say vibe, once the boss is actually gone. I think one of my favorite things about this one in particular is the fact that I just died. That's great. Okay, love that. Spyro the Dragon, more like Spyro the dumbass, can't jump right. That was mean. Okay, don't put that in the episode. That's gonna make me seem like a dragon hater. So a lot of these boss arenas, each world has one. And these boss arenas, when you beat the boss, they just persist. And one interesting thing about Spyro is that there is no boss music. It just plays the level music. And once the boss is dead, the level music just persists. So it gives these environments a weird feeling of being in suspended animation. The super textured lava, which looks even more than the water like it ought to be moving, of course is not moving. And other than that little blue dragonfly, there are no signs of life whatsoever. This is a level I didn't get to too much as a kid, which also gives it a weird vibe just for me personally. Because it feels like something out of Spyro 2, which I never really played, as opposed to Spyro 1, just because I was never familiar with it. So I am, however, going to go look and see if I can't get behind these mountains. I want to see what's back here. Oh, there's a wall! No! Oh, horrible. That's a travesty. Why not just let me go? You know, why not let me go and let me die? I want to be free to die however I want. I think these spots down next to where water is at the bottom of large pits are some of my favorites in Spyro games. Because you mostly only end up right down next to the water like this when you're gonna die. You also can't typically stay long down there because you will die, like you just watched me do. And I just love the colors. I just love the colors and the vibes. It's really something worth taking in, you know? Alright, I think that's about all I have to say. Maybe I'll show you some of those other boss chambers in a different video. Maybe I'll just do a video all about the empty boss chambers after the bosses are dead. But for now, that's all you get. Get back on the bus. We're going to one more place. Alright, the last place we're going is a place that's very special to me. We've returned to Stone Hill, the very first level in the game, in some sense. Most likely the first level you will play in the game. And we're in a portion of Stone Hill that when you first go there as a kid, it feels like you have cheated. You've made an error. Because somehow you're staring into the, not abyss. Somehow you're staring into the infinity of rolling green hills that cannot be reached. And the reason they can't be reached is because there's this barrier. And the barrier prevents it. But the barrier, being invisible, right, does not deter the imagination, okay? And the way that Spyro renders things in the distance, you know, the way that the texture disappears the further away it gets, melds so nicely with the skybox that it almost looks like a continuous environment, even though it is very definitely a skybox and then a level. Walking around up here as a kid, and I suppose if you don't play Spyro, here's how you get there. Let me show you really quick. You gotta go up to the top at this, and then you gotta fly off of this up to the ledge. And what it feels like is it feels like you've broken the rules. It feels like that was supposed to be the boundary of the level, and you cheated and got up top. But of course, this is meant to be a place you get to. As a kid, I can't tell you how many hours I spent running around here trying to break out of the sides, and you know, I figured there must be some way. You know, when you're a kid, you're very dumb. So you assume that, you know, there is stuff out there, even though there's not, because it's a video game, you know, and there's just a skybox and then the world disappears. But you can see out there, you can see the hills. They continue onward. Why am I not allowed? It's so tempting. It's such a weird feeling. I imagine a lot of you had similar experiences with this location in Spyro. And interestingly, This is one thing that Spyro does that Mario 64 and Mario in general, Mario in general has never done this, which is have areas that are underdeveloped and a little bit awkward to get to in a way that makes it feel like you've broken a rule in order to get there. Mario is very good about telegraphing what is player interactable and what isn't, and where you can go and where you can't, which is great because it means it's not confusing to play. But the one thing you lose with that is you don't have moments like this where you get somewhere and you're not even really sure if you're supposed to be here, and you're not even really sure if there's anything up here for you to do. So for all the beauty and the remarkableness of, you know, Nintendo's design philosophy, Mario isn't exclusively better than Spyro, it's just mostly better than Spyro. It's a great 5, it's a great 5. I love it very much. Alright, that's gonna wrap up this video. Thanks for coming on this trip with me. Throw it back, and we'll get this video wrapped up. I wonder if I can go down here. How far can I get? Oh my god, the barrier! Well, now I'm dead. Death comes for us all, Spyro. Don't worry too much about it. Thank you so much for going on this journey with me. I can't tell you how much I appreciate spending this time with you. If you have any other places that you think I should have gone that I did not go in Spyro the Dragon, you can post those down below. If you have any other games that you think I should check out for the series, you can post those down below. But most importantly, if you enjoy this video, please leave a comment saying, hey, I liked this video. That will let me know to make more videos like this. Do not leave that comment if you did not enjoy this video, or else I will make videos that you don't like. Remember, I am here to serve you. But if you want to be here to serve me, you can go to www.patreon.com/any_Austin. This is a viewer-supported channel, so Patreon is the #1 way to keep this kind of content flowing. I've also got merch. I've got social media accounts. Who cares? Nobody. I only have one more thing left to tell you before this video is over. In my free time, I make a lot of music. That's my #1 hobby, one of my favorite things to do. I use that music in all my videos, so please enjoy the song today. I'll see you next time. Oh my god, it's Satan! Great idea. You think Jacques is a human? Oh, back up, slow. Freeze frame him. Look at his arms. Those look like human arms, don't they? Is he a human being with no legs? A small, disabled clown boy. I suppose maybe that's what he was. The 90s were a different time. I couldn't get you a wheelchair, but I got you this spring. I hope it's sufficient. It's not, but it's fine.